Recently in Burkina Faso, a mark called Itawa, which is an electric vehicle production and assembly company that deals with the production of both, SUVs and all types of different vehicles, actually opened its doors. And there are actually reasons to this. Same thing also, such as a mark as Spyro, which is a mark which deals with the production and the assembly and the sales also of electric bikes. They even went further to producing battery swap stations, which are stations that actually deals with the swap of batteries. Doing this video was not actually to talk about these two marks, and I can assure you that I have even no connection with these marks, but I actually went into deep research to take into consideration why can these marks actually invest so much in electrifying the automobile sector. Because this company such as Spyro actually deals with electric bikes, and Itawa, which is a Burkina Faso mark, actually deals with electric vehicles. So I actually went into statistics and say why do these companies actually invest so much in this? And when I went into deeper research, I saw that comparing someone, let's say a Yango electric vehicle, as compared to someone that uses a thermic vehicle, could be a good video idea. That's why today I actually decided to make this video for you. If you are new to this channel, we talk about cars, the automobile sector, and electric vehicles as whole. We also talk about tool tips on how to have better experience with your vehicle. So if you're interested in that content, kindly click that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell not to miss any of our future content. Let's get into it. So let's take a case study of a Yango driver. You see, as commonly called a taxi driver. So a driver that uses that runs his activity using taxi. So I just want to take a comparison on his cost that he will have as he using an electric vehicle or using, let's say, a thermic vehicle. Cost on a Yango driver that runs on 200 kilometers per day. Take into consideration that he uses a thermic vehicle, and we know running a thermic vehicle 200 kilometers per day, whereby for every 100 kilometers he uses actually 10 liters of petrol. And 10 liters of petrol, meaning he will use about 20 liters of petrol, since he is to run 200 kilometers per day. So he will use 20 liters of fuel. And take into consideration that in our ecosystem here, a liter of fuel costs about 730 francs, let's say 750 francs CFA. And take into consideration that you have to calculate this 200 kilometers that he runs daily times this 750 francs, you will see that he ends up spending about 14,500 francs to 15,000 francs daily just on fuel alone. You see that calculating all these costs even on monthly basis, you see that he spends about 430,000 just for him to refuel his car, to refuel his car. For a taxi driver maybe that uses a fuel vehicle or a thermic vehicle. Let's take the same example of a Yango driver who maybe uses an electric vehicle. You know that for every 100 kilometers, from the statistics that I made, from every 100 kilometers, you use about 15 kilowatts of power, of electricity. And take into consideration that we want to take the same consideration that he runs 200 kilometers on daily basis, such as the driver that uses, the fuel car. He will use actually 30 kilowatts of electricity, of power. So, taking into the same consideration, a kilowatt of power here in our ecosystem here in Cameroon is about 60 to 70 francs. And calculating 60 to 70 francs on daily basis, that will be him spending on daily basis about 2,000 francs at most. Yeah, 2,000 francs at most. You see that calculating this on a monthly basis, he will actually spend about 45,000 to 50,000. So look at the gap as compared to the driver using the thermic vehicle. You see that he used about 430,000 francs as compared to the person using the electric vehicle who actually spend just at most 50,000 francs. So he economizes about 290,000 francs just because he uses an electric vehicle. As I said, I'm just doing the comparison so that you yourself, you see the difference. If you have reached to this point of the video and you're not subscribed, please click that subscribe button, like, and turn on the notification bell not to miss any of our future content. Let's even take an example of somebody using, let's say, an electric bike. For an electric bike, such as the company that I like a lot, Spyro. I assure you, I have no connection with these companies. I just talk about them because the work they do. So an electric bike fabricant such as Spyro, which is in about 5 to 7 countries now in Africa, such as Rwanda, I think Kenya, Cameroon, Nigeria also. You see, Take an example that a bike rider maybe transitions from using a thermic bike, so a bike that uses fuel, to an electric bike, and then a bike that uses fully electricity. You will see that, taking the same statistics, him going maybe 100 kilometers daily, he will use about 10 liters of petrol. He will use about 10 liters of petrol, and these 10 liters of petrol on daily basis will cost him about 7,000 francs or 7,500 francs, and on monthly basis you will see that he will be using about not less than 250,000 francs, as compared to him now using an electric bike, which actually he will spend about 1,500 or 1,000 francs at most on daily basis to actually swap his or recharge his his electric bike, or even have the swap, which can where from the information that I got, a single swap can lead him to about 3 days, So let's take in the case where he's charging the electric bike. And charging the electric bike, he will use about 1,000 francs at most on daily basis to run like kilometers such as 60 to 90 kilometers, you see, which is fully. And on monthly basis he will end up spending something about just 50,000 francs, you see, and which look at the gap between the motorbike rider, which actually uses 250,000, and him, which actually uses just about 50,000. So there's a gap of about 200,000 that he economizes just because he transitioned to maybe an electric bike. Talking even about the eco-friendly characteristics, for some versions of electric vehicles, such as the battery electric vehicle, the fuel cell electric vehicle, the hybrid electric vehicle, and the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. But let's take into consideration that we talk only about the battery electric vehicle, which fully runs on electricity. You see that for this type of vehicles, they don't even have an exhaust. There is no exhaust pipe on their vehicle, because they simply recharge their vehicle. The inverter converts that alternating current into direct current, and also the motor actually propels this energy to the wheels. And due to factors such as regenerative braking, this actually increases once more the efficiency and the cost effectiveness of these vehicles. The same thing actually applies even to the electric bikes. For all electric bikes, there is no exhaust. And due to the property of being very powerful, despite the amount of weight that you put on it, these bikes are actually very efficient. Talking even about its environmentally friendly characteristics, as I earlier mentioned, this will lead to the reduction of diseases, of respiratory diseases and all the rest. Right now in my ecosystem here in Cameroon, as you can see, I'm on the highway number 5, and if you take note, there is actually 99.9% of vehicles that pass here are still thermic vehicles. That's why I actually take time to actually give this type of information, so that most of us that are not yet actually well informed about the benefits, about the advantages, about how economically friendly these electric vehicles can be to us, can actually take the step to actually dive or to actually transition to this electric mobility. But now let's be real, I couldn't finish this video about talking about the problems that adopting electric vehicles here in our ecosystem, we can face this problem. So I couldn't finish this video, not to be hypocrite, without actually talking about these problems. So many people complain to me that, yes, Juni, you are talking about electric vehicles, or us to adopt electric vehicles and all the rest, but actually look around us. There is no actually any station that can help us recharge our vehicles. And that's why I call on all these marks that I've been talking of, that here in Cameroon there is actually an opportunity. I have tried in the past videos talking about the benefits and all the rest, but I actually understand you guys who actually send the comments and the messages about not being able to actually take care of these vehicles. What is the need of purchasing maybe a Tesla or a Nissan Leaf or a Wuling Mini EV and not having, let's say, a rechargeable socket? That would be a problem. It's true here in our country here, the energy sources are not actually very reliable, and that's why even in my previous videos I talk about the introduction of solar energy, because here 99 we have a very hot climate. That's why countries such as Burkina Faso with its electric vehicle companies such as Itawa actually took this initiative, because Burkina Faso actually has a favorable climate for these vehicles. The same thing to most African countries, because countries such as Morocco, countries such as Rwanda, even Lesotho have actually gone a step further than so many of us, maybe like here in Cameroon and others. So this can be a problem, that is true. But that's why I encourage marks such as Spyro for them to build more battery swap stations, as the ones we have been seeing like in some areas such as in Douala, in Yaoundé and some of these areas. So there is actually a step that is being made, and I encourage them in that. But I tell you, even us adopting, if you start maybe today by building, let's say, a solar panel plant in your home, this can actually save you a lot. Especially you, maybe who is maybe, let's say, you are doing a business, maybe a delivery business, and you actually deal a lot with bikes. You will see that adopting these bikes will actually save you a lot, and it will make your income actually explode. I like sharing this story of a Togolese friend. I've shared this story in my channel now for more than 5 times, because this is actually an inspiring one. It's a taxi driver, also an Uber driver, who actually used his normal thermic vehicles in the past, and he didn't have any idea about the coming of electric vehicles. But once as he heard about it, he didn't actually think twice. He just needed to be at the right place at the right moment and take the information that is necessary for him to actually dive into the affair. So as he transitioned to electric vehicles, he actually saw his chiffre d'affaires, as they call in French, actually very explode to a higher amount. If you love this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe and turn on the notification bell not to miss any of our future content. As well, if you are in need of a vehicle in Cameroon, any type of vehicle, whether it's a thermic vehicle, an electric vehicle, across Cameroon, across Africa, even across the world, trust me, just message me with the with the number you see in the description. Thank you, and meet you on the next one. Click this video here to watch.